Good afternoon, viewers from Abia State and all over Nigeria. My name remains Emily Kiro, the anchor of the program Focal Point. With me today is one of the prominent gubernatorial aspirants in Abia State, in the person of Otisi Ebitu Ukiwe, a security expert. You're welcome, sir.
Thank you very much.
How's it been this period, sir?
Ooh, it's every day is a new experience, and it's always a good experience, because we have the ambition to do what we feel is right, and so when we're faced with new experiences and new challenges, we just have to get through and do what we have to do.
Okay.
So that's it.
Before we start talking about the issues, to actually aspire to be governor in this our political environment with all the issues around it, how did you arrive at making up your mind to do this?
I think that is a very good question. It's a question that I don't know how. I don't know how, to be honest. But what I do know is that I feel that there needs to be a change of approach for leadership, and the world is changing, and we need to take bold, audacious steps right now, and that is probably what has built my drive for this. If you look globally, many of the leaders today are young people with new ideas, young people with ideas that are future ideas. So that could also have been one of the driving forces behind it. But it's also clear as well, because we can see where things are going. We can see how bad things have been. So apart from the idea that we have a youthful approach and a youthful drive, there's also the need to get things done. And that's why we're here. If you look at Abia State has been on a continuous decline for a very long time. And we cannot boast of Umuahia, we cannot boast of Aba, and be talking about being the poorest state in the southeast. It's completely unacceptable, and these older guys, they've done what they can do, and they've done what they can do again, and it's not working. So we need to change that, and we need to change the approach completely, and that's why I'm putting myself forward for this.
Okay, for the very first time in Abia State, we've seen a party which are putting forward the aspirants before the delegates, to talk to them first before the primary. That's laudable in this environment. So, how did you see the discussion today? How did you see the interaction today that held earlier at Coping Society?
The ADC is a fabulous party. They are not only putting forward credible candidates, they're also giving everybody a chance. And that's what you can see. You can see the bishop, who is much older than the majority of us there, and then you can see the younger generation of leaders coming forward. And that is what is fabulous about all of this. You hear about the amazing things these people have done, you hear about the amazing things which we want to do, and then you realize that not everybody is giving the platform for everybody else to try and do this. And that's why I think the party is the party for the future. I think it's a party where we're going to have leaders that are going to change Nigeria positively, But the most important thing is that we must select our leaders right. We must not just think that because someone says he has done a certain amount of things that the person is qualified, We must change the mindset. And I think ADC is changing the mindset of leadership across Nigeria. Not just in Abia State, also if you look at their presidential candidates, a diverse group of people who have diverse experiences as well. So the party is on the right track, but they must substantiate that by choosing the right people to lead.
Okay.
Choose people who would win and not people who would participate.
Okay, let's look into the issues. Of course, the party primary is coming up on Saturday,
yes,
and I know you're prepared for it. Why should those delegates choose you on that day?
Well, the reality is this. I am the most prepared of the gubernatorial candidates. I am the candidate without a godfather. Forget what anyone tells you. We know where the godfathers are. I am the candidate without the godfather. And it's the godfatherism of politics that has led Abia State to where it is today. And that's why I say we need a new approach. Come March next year, when we're electing leaders for Abia State, we are going to see similar men. APC, PDP, and all these other parties, ABGA, are going to be producing the same men, the same age, the same group. And enough is enough. Old men need to stop predicting or dictating the future for us young people. You know, somebody once said that he's not old enough to be called an elder, and he's not young enough to be called a youth. They have left us in a position where we have to fight for our own future. And that is why I should be selected, because I represent the majority of the youth. The median age of Nigeria keeps dropping. Right now, I think it's 19. There's nothing a 58-year-old man can really say to a 19-year-old. You know, I'm more likely to be able to relate with a 19-year-old than some of these older generation men. So the delegates need to realize this. The delegates need to realize that their own future cannot be hinged on an old man. We need to hinge our futures on the young, progressive youths. And that is why I believe that come Saturday, I'm definitely going to be the candidate and flag bearer for ADC in Abia State.
So generally, of course, Abia State has been having issues. There are security issues. Just recently, one of the respected Methodist prelate was kidnapped within the boundaries of Abia State, and after lots were saved, we gathered they paid 100 million before it was released. That's one particular angle, and you're a security expert. What should Abians be expecting differently?
I kind of wish you didn't bring up this particular case, because it's, I mean, you know, the reason why is because we need to look at the money. We need to look at where that money is going. Is that money going to be funding certain people's ambitions? And we have to be careful. 100 million is not what you go to the ATM and pull out. You know, a lot of this insecurity is there to fund many, many things. And some of these things in this period is elections. And we're going to see more. Because tomorrow somebody can come out and pay for votes, and you will not ask him where he got the 100 million from. So we have to be very careful with the way we handle security matters. Now the truth is this, you know, like I said earlier, security is something they taught us in primary school, social studies, you know. It's not difficult. I'm not going to say it's easy, but it's not difficult to fight insecurity. The average person does not want to carry a gun to go and rob somebody and not know whether he's going to make 100 million or he's going to make 5,000 naira. You know, we have to engage the youths. We have to engage our people. You know, by the time you see that your populace of people who want to cause mayhem is reducing because their jobs, because their activities. You know, today I go and commit a crime, I make 10,000 naira. But tomorrow there's a job opportunity that can give me 15,000 naira. I'm more likely to go for the job opportunity. You know, so we have to change the mindset of the people. And the one way is this inclusive growth. When people feel like they are part of the growth, when people feel like, oh, this man is building a big house because he has done the right thing, people want to do what's right. When people say, oh, this man has bought a new car because he has worked hard, I want to buy a new car, I'm more likely to go out and go and look for where I can get the job to do that. And there are many, many ways to get jobs. Abia State is blessed. Blessed. We have gas, we have oil, we have agriculture, and then we have human capital. We do not even have enough capacity to fill the kind of jobs Abia would create. By the time we are done, Abia will be importing people to come and work. And that's how we create wealth. And when these people are engaged, when these people are doing things that they enjoy, things that are paying them well, things that give them pride, then they would shun in things that cause insecurity. Don't get me wrong, there will still be those few. But you know, if you have the majority doing right, then you are already on the right path. And that is the path we need to get on. When majority are doing the right, it becomes, you know, somebody said, look, if all of us in here are naked and one person is clothed, it's the person that is in clothes that there's something wrong with the person, right? Yeah. It's the same thing. If everybody is doing what's right, and then that one person wants to do what's wrong, he's going to be thinking, people think he's mad. And eventually he's going to have to conform and do what's right. So security is broad. There's so many things. You ask a young man today, would you rather go and play football, or would you rather go and carry a gun and maybe come back dead? He'll probably want to play football. When you engage them in community, when you engage them in activities that restore pride, you would see a change. Look at all the boys who police have paraded and have claimed to be either one member of a gang or the other. Immediately they are caught. They are so sober. They are like, oh, I'm sorry, I didn't do this, I didn't do that. That shows that inside of them, they don't mean evil. We are good people. And we must reach in as leaders to tap in on that good. And we cannot do that if we keep shunning these people. We need to empower them.
Okay, we're still interacting with Otisi Ebitu Ukiwe, the Secretary Aspirant and the Gubernatorial Aspirant for ADC in Abia State. And we've been talking on so many things. And just stay put and enjoy it and go on with us. Okay, we've talked about insecurity. You've told us why the delegates should vote for you. Can you tell us extra things while Abians should look up to you?
Well, one of the reasons why Abians should look up to me is because I'm going to bring a different approach. When I talk about economic and social infrastructure, we can clearly see that we have, I wouldn't say a lack, but there's almost no infrastructure. Our hospitals are old, our schools are old, we have no roads. We need to bring infrastructure into Abia State that would not only make life better for our people, but would also make people economically powerful. So when you build a road, the woman who has carried her farm produce can get it out for people to pay for it. When you create an opportunity for agricultural products, when we partner with other states, with the federal government, we're able to empower these people. It is very simple, and it comes down to willpower. And when you do not have a godfather, you don't have people who you answer to. My godfather are the people of Abia State. They are the ones who I would have to answer to. We look at a situation like this, right? You build an agricultural exchange, So when our farmers come out with their yams, they're not going to be priced because a guy in a jeep has more money and he's going to say, no, I'm only giving you 1,000 naira. No, you bring it to an exchange where the real value of that yam is placed. And then you can trade your yam with almost anybody in the world. If you cannot sell it here, you sell it globally. We partner with agencies that will build infrastructure. Imagine if we have a light rail system or even a train system that runs from here to either Port Harcourt, Akwa Ibom, or Calabar straight to the sea. We partner with those states. And then when you have your products, you put them there, boom, it gets out onto the sea, and we go. Or we build an airport. We build an airport that's going to last the next 50 years, at least, because an airport should outlive everybody that built that airport. You have a cargo airport. When we have our leather products in Aba, when we have all the different infrastructure and different produce we make, we can ship them out, not just overseas, even locally. There are states in Nigeria that need what we produce here, and there are states in Nigeria that are producing what we need here. And that is the kind of trade we need. We don't need to also trade with the West. We have East and Central Africa, which is closer to us. East and Central Africa, we trade with those people. We will bring the trade back. I will do this. And I will do this through partnerships, through the relationships we have built over years. And one thing for sure is that I do not know everything. And I'm sure as we're discussing right now, it's even becoming even clearer that I'm probably just speaking from my heart. I'm not a documented piece of paper. So the reality is every day is going to be a learning curve for us. But what we must have is the willpower to learn and the willpower to do what's right. And we have the knowledge, we have the network to put the money back into Abia State. And like the gentleman said earlier, the borrowing and all of those things, borrowing in itself is not bad. If we need to borrow to do what's right, we borrow to do what's right. What we must not do is to borrow to eat. We must not borrow to put money in our pocket. We must not borrow to enrich other people. Inclusive growth means the least person, so-called person, or the so-called least person in Abia State must enjoy as much as the most revered person in Abia State. So I think what we'll be bringing to Abia State is security. We'll be bringing empowerment of youths. You know, I was privileged enough to go to very good schools, so I know what a school should look like. You know, somebody cannot come and tell me that he went to so-and-so schools and he did so-and-so, and you don't know what a good school is. I know what the good schools are. I know you don't go to school to learn. You go to school to learn how to learn. And the example I always use is my first term in university, I submitted my assignment on a floppy disk. The next 2 weeks, floppy disks were obsolete. So you have to learn to adapt. You learn to learn. Now, then we moved to USB. It was so expensive to buy USB then, but now we don't use USB anymore. We're talking about the cloud. So we need to create an environment where our students, our children are learning to learn. And when you create an environment where it's safe, not just for them, but for their teachers, they learn what is right. They learn what's going forward. You know, there's a joke that says 1 + 1 is 1. You take 1 chupa of yam and another chupa of yam and you pound it, you get 1 pounded yam. You know, that is funny and everything, but that is not what we want to learn. Mm-hmm. We need to change the way our children learn, and we need to change the way we lead in Abia State.
What's your take on ICT? ICT is obviously the in thing today, and most of our youths are involved in it. We have different kind of hubs around us, but they end up crying that there are no encouragement, there are no government patronage, there are no government involvement. What will you do differently from what we have at the moment?
You see, one thing I love about ICT and learning in general is that it doesn't end. You know, like I said, we were talking about USB before, we were talking about CD, now we're talking about cloud, you know. And the thing about ICT is that it's constantly evolving, you know. So we need to be constantly involving with them. There are many agencies that are looking for people where they can invest. I mean, I don't know for a fact, but I'm pretty sure if you give Google an enabling environment, they will come and invest in ICT in Abia State. If you give Microsoft an enabling environment, they'll come and invest in ICT. You know, we have bright minds. We have bright minds. And ICT has gone from, I remember those days when I was in school, we had the big computers. Mm-hmm. Now on your phone, you can achieve ICT. Mm-hmm. You know, so this ICT is the future. It is exactly what's going to empower a lot of the industries that we would run in Abia State. So it is important that we do not play with ICT loosely. We want a situation where when we involve our youth in ICT, they are also involved in the right thing. Not Yahoo or internet crime. We want them to be empowered. We want them to build computers. We want them to build industries. We want situations where we have an Abia young man or an Abia young woman who come out and say, I built this program that can transform one thing or the other, and the whole world is like, wow, we're now interested in coming to Abia. We need to change Abia from a local discourse to an international discourse, a global discourse. And ICT is the only thing that makes the world a smaller place. And so it is critical for our government to ensure that ICT is integral in the development of Abia State.
Thank you very much. On the final note, a lot of aspirants will come and tell us very laudable ideas, good dreams, but they end up not telling us how do they expect to get the money. Are you going to be relying on the monthly IGR to do all these wonderful things you're talking about? Of course, they run into billions. How do you intend to find your way through this financial call?
There are two things in place here in terms of the required infrastructure and required finances for this. And the most critical part is actually the House of Assembly. You know, the House of Assembly are the ones who checkmate the executive. Mm-hmm. You know, they are responsible for making sure we do what is right for the people. You know, so when we have an honest House of Assembly, mm-hmm. a just House of Assembly, we will be able to use the funds appropriately. Now, if you also remember, I spoke about multi-party stakeholders. Mm-hmm. You know, there are millions, tens of millions of dollars that are returned annually because they do not know who they can trust with this money. I have raised money from the World Bank. I raised money for the World Bank in 2007 for a business in Aba. You know, we have the ability to raise the money that is needed. And like I said, when this money comes in, most of this money is even grant, so it's almost free money. You know, so once this money comes in, you put it into wealth generating programs. You know, you don't put it into consumption programs. You don't, you know, and once you put it into wealth generating programs, the IGR increases. And as it increases, you're able to put these funds in its appropriate places. And it becomes very clear. Money is one of the simplest things to make. You know, it just determines how you want to make it. Do you want to make it the right way or the wrong way? There are millions and tens of millions of dollars that are out there. We must make Abia State attractive for all of this money. All. We don't want you to go to Lagos. We don't want you to go to Ebonyi. We want you to come to Abia State. And when you come to Abia State, we want the people to see what the money is put forward to. And once that is done, we'll be able to get these laudable projects off the road. We also want to drive nice cars. We want to drive nice cars on nice roads. We want to look at the schools. We want some sense of pride, some sense of ownership. And if we have to go out to get people to believe in us again, we will do it. That money is going to come in. I can assure you that there are people ready to bring money into Abia State. What they want is a credible leader that they know once this money goes in there, the money will be used honestly. And that is what I'm going to bring. I'm going to bring that credibility, and then I'm going to bring the money, and then you see the infrastructure, and you see the empowerment of the people, because that is all I have to give. We have to return God's own state to God.
On the final note, what is the last thing you will tell the delegates?
You have the power. You have the power, and you know exactly what you want. You know the people, and you know that by the grace of God, when you select me, we will do what's right for you. Thank you.
Aspirant, Dr. John Abraham Gosson. He said that he is based in Poland. He has been there, he did work there in the legislature. And that whatever he did there, he's coming here to replicate it and even do better. My question is, this is not the first time we'll be hearing somebody telling us that he did well overseas, he has money, he's coming here to do this or that. If you are elected,
this IPOB agitation, you understand, comes to an end. Then secondly, just yesterday, your primate was, one of primate Uche was released, and he accused Fulani herdsmen of being behind his adoption. So now what are you going to do to secure Abia? Thank you very much.
all right, quickly. Thank you very much. Ladies and gentlemen, Your Excellency is here seated. My name is Steve Oko of the Vanguard newspapers. My question is related to what my sister had just said. I'm just raising now from Sochi, where I went to use, took to the streets to demonstrate their frustration, their bitterness, their anger about the insecurity in our hands. I think time has gone for us to be speaking grammars here. I understand that most times we are being told, oh, you don't discuss security in public. But I want to extract from you, in practical terms, what are you going to be doing to address this most according security in our hands? And then, like he also pointed out, pointing accusing figures on IPOB, ESN, I think should be a thing of the past, because somebody we respect so much, a prelate, a man of God, has come out openly to tell us, not just himself, but others have also said it, that Fulani herdsmen are responsible. Are you going to be part of these, our political elite, that have always told us with stories? Yet, they are going to Abuja to fatten their pocket, whereas the ordinary people are here suffering. Thank you very much.
All right. We just have 2 more questions. Praise the Lord. Hallelujah. I'm Pastor Laughter Ihani Okara Fototi. I'm from Aruchuku. I reside in Idoru. Go ahead. Please, since I was born, I am getting old. We have been hearing politicians giving us promises here and there. But the road to Aruchuku is too bad. I can't vote for anybody, but I can only vote for anyone who will promise us that that road will be okay. Number 2, we see what education is all about. I can't even pay my children's school fees, even those in university. We need, and I need, that one who will come really and say to us, education will be wonderfully in Abia State. Number 2, we can see that pensioners are not paid. We can also see that everybody is crying in the state. Who is that Messiah? That will save us. That's my question. If anybody will rise up and give us concrete answer, then that one I prophesy, he will rule us. Amen.
Thank you very much. We will need leaders and not rulers.
Okay, I think I have 2 more questions. One is for the governorship aspirant. On issue of economic infrastructure development, how do you plan to industrialize Abia? And how do you manage the industries? Granted that the government has no business in managing industries. That's for the governorship aspirant.
Okay.
Then for the senatorial aspirant, what would be your decision in making appointment, especially on our special committees, assuming you are elected as senatorial aspirant? What will be your decision in making your appointment, especially on special committees? Thank you.
All right, let's take from Flow FM. My name is Otisi Ebitu, voice on the radio. One question. There's so much about persons and personalities who occupy certain positions, but then there's this terminology that's been in government space for a while: willpower. Do you think that if you were elected into certain positions, that you have the willpower? Give an example: Ishigate, road markets, to actually clear up some of these areas. Do you think that the power brokers that are in the state will not be able to suppress you and influence your decision? It's good enough to have a good mindset, to want to change things, but then do you think you will have the willpower to surmount the pressure that will come with occupying that position? Thank you very much.
All right, put your hands together for all who have asked questions, and then we will go straight to the aspirant's response now, starting from Mr. Otisi. Now, you've taken the questions down. Please, can you kindly respond? You have 5 minutes to respond each to all the questions.
Thank you very much. If I understood clearly, the first question was about whether we have the financial muscle to challenge the status quo. And one thing I will tell you is, in a nutshell, yes, we have it, because everything we've achieved today has been organic. People are making donations and people believe in what we're doing. Now, we have access to these people. We have what it takes to break down this mafia structure that we currently have, So we're not coming here to play. We're coming here to give them fire for whatever they have. And we know exactly what we need to do, Thank you. If I miss a question, please let me know. There's a second question here saying, what have we done? Well, I try to avoid this question as much as possible, because a lot of what I have done, I had not done because of politics. I have paid people's school fees. I have paid people's medical bills. I have sent people to university. I have sent people outside this country to play sports. You know, all of this has been done. I have attracted investment into Abriba, where I am from. Before very long, you would see a world-class sports facility in Abriba, you know. But like I said, I did not do any of these things because of politics. So I try to avoid, you know, all of that, you know. So yes, we have done a lot and we'll continue to do more. And when we have the power of the office, we will be able to transform Abia State by making it attractive to other investors as well. Well, when we speak of IPOB, we must be very realistic. You know, we must realize that all we want in Igbo land is equity. You cannot have one part of this country where you would have so-called terrorists being reformed and being put back into the system, and then they would arrest their youths, arrest their men, and then keep them locked up and keep them charged over nothing. We must have serious discussions with the government about what we're going to do about our people. Whatever you're doing for the people in the Northeast, you must do for people in the Southeast. This is not to say that we would support the violence and the killing of our own people. That is not acceptable at all. The kidnapping and insecurity must stop. But we must learn to realize that our representation must continue. You cannot treat people somewhere else differently from the way you're treating us. We are Nigerians as it is right now, and we must be treated with the same standard you're treating other people. I think that also addresses the question about Fulani headsmen. You know, it's very simple. When you find a crime you're not proud of, you know, you just turn around and say IPOB, Indibo. No, if we must let our people, let the people who are committing these crimes be treated as the criminals that they are. And then again, it's asked about insecurity in practical terms. I have the experience for insecurity. I have been running a security company for close to 10 years. I know what we need to do. One of the first things I'm going to do is I am going to make sure the security vote goes to security. We would have to realize that when we have government security forces here, like the police and the military, we must support them as well. And when I say we must support them so that they feel part of our communities. I would use the security vote to ensure that the welfare of these people is met. But that welfare would only be met if the people of Abia State approve it. So no policeman will get his extra welfare if the community leaders in Abia State have not approved it. That means when he meets our people, he will be forced to recognize them. He will be forced to represent them, and he will be forced to respect them. You can round up now. No, I would address all this. Okay. The Arochukwu Road in 2018, I drove from Abuja to Arochukwu. That road is a personal project for me. Education is the most important thing in the world. Finally, when we talk about how do we plan to industrialize Abia State, it's natural. Abia State has vast natural and human resources. In sports alone, we would be able to transform Abia State. When we now talk about manufacturing, when we now talk about agriculture, we would bring in external partners, we will bring in external money, and we will partner with our people. Each and every one of us here would have the opportunity to partner with people who are ready to industrialize Abia State. And that is how we would empower ourselves, and that is how we will empower our children. And yes, we have the willpower. We have the willpower because enough is enough. We are young, and we know that if we do not do it today, our future is gone. And that is the willpower we need. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Please, a round of applause for our Governorship Aspirant. A round of applause for him, please. Please, sorry for all other responses. We will ask that you take one or two
and respond because of want of time. We will soon go off the air, please. We want to be able to manage the time, please, quickly.
Thank you very much. Someone asked the question, will I do, what is the assurance that what I did in Poland, I will do in Nigeria? I think the only assurance you need to have is look at my antecedents, look at what I have already done, and promises I made in the past, I did, and that was why I was elected. And someone else asked, what have you done so far in Abia? I came back to Nigeria after living 25 years in Poland. I came back in November 2016. And since then, I have been working. I started a farm, I'm a farmer, Pilgrim Ranch, and I've been employing people. I've given more than 500 scholarships so far. Mentoring and training. Every year I recruit 100 young people that I mentor in the area of agriculture and agripreneur. So that is what I am doing. Support for the widows. But I don't like talking about these things. And then greenery. How many of you know Okebo Estate in Umuahia? When you enter that estate, you see those trees that are planted along the road. I planted those trees. And I am going to do the same thing with Abia Central. Abia Central is going to be the greenest constituency in Nigeria. And then finally, someone asked which committees am I interested in. Of course, agriculture is number one. Agriculture, because I believe we have natural resources in agriculture that we're not making use of. And many of us in Isiapangwa, in Umuahia, are agriculturist farmers. We need to provide a platform and provide equipment, resources, training that will help our farmers, produce better. Foreign affairs and then science and technology. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. The blueprint, Ejuraji just say, "Gini mere ejina asubeke eba." Military Suibo, Sunga Subide to Chiabo. Here they empower here drive what empower no one on table eba. Also, you work and you Kenya no yani, and they no law, no yani, why you? So, Master now, neighbor, I'm on Nalibo, Nalibo, who na Libo, Biena, but Bienitem, Bieno Moya. So, it's a Casuibo, Meditator, Wiji. Mugasu echere na ihe eji na-etinye oyibo mobere ka ndị na-ebe ọzọ nọ ihe a na-ekwu ikwere na ihe m kwuru nna ekwu ikwela. Thank you very much. Now when we come to security, and I mentioned it, I said every issue of security is domiciled in every community, and every community must accept responsibility. It's unfortunate that the prelate of Methodist Church was abducted in Abia State. And it has given us a very bad name globally. We are getting calls from all over the world. We have a team of about 20 people of Vision Africa that are supposed to arrive next week from US. That journey is put on hold because of what happened in Abia the day before yesterday. So we must all rise to make sure we address it. There's something my brother Otisi said. It is our collective business, and I agree with him. Look at it. Whether Fulani or Yoruba or Igbo or Hausa, part of what I will do, because I'm a people person, I know how to bring people together. And those of you who know me very well, now this is the Bishop Onoha, who made it possible for all the governorship aspirants in the past 2 elections in Abia. I got them together to sign peace accord. So I know how to bring people together. We can bring the Hausas, the Fulani, the Igbos together to help us identify the bad boys. There are bad boys in every tribe. There are bad boys in every language. Also, there are good boys. We must use good boys and the bad boys to identify them wherever they are. Thank you, Mr. Rondo.
Let me stop. I know how to manage time.
So the questions that have been asked are actually wonderful questions, which is really what we're here and what we're about. The truth is, let's look at insecurity, just like my seniors have said. It's community-based. You will know when you have internal insecurity, and you will know when insecurity is external. It's your community that needs to aid the responsible organizations to curb this threat. if we accommodate these people amongst us and we say nothing, then we will be threatened by them. So one of the first things is that in the Senate or in the legislature, we need to start looking at supporting community-based policing so that our people can take responsibility for their security and they can be funded to adequately protect themselves. So that's how I see for insecurity. With respect to prosperity or economic development, we are an industrious people. We all know that the average Abia person is very hardworking, but the skills and the tools are the things that are absent. So there is no reason why we should not have milling plants where anybody can go and mill. There is no reason why we should not have cottage industries doing backward integration from all the cash crops and the mineral resources that we have. So I mentioned when I spoke earlier that even from oil palm, you could develop a weaving industry for mats, baskets, brooms, and making of soap. And finally, let me just speak to committees that I will be interested in. The truth is that all of these wonderful things we're saying will not happen if there is no money. I would be very interested in working in the finance committee and making sure that Abians get what their due is. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Please quickly before we round up, I want to invite Elder Loveday Sunday. This is a special request. Elder Loveday Sunday. Just one question and it will be answered randomly. Please, we just have 2 minutes to round up this.
Good day, everyone.
He is representing the elders.
I listened to questions put forward by journalists, but one bogs my mind so much about borrowing. The federal and state governments have borrowed so stupendously and there's nothing to show for on us. What are you going to do? Then in the Senate, House of Rep, as governors to checkmate senseless borrowing.
All right, so I'm going to start from the last, and they have 30 seconds to respond each. 30 seconds each.
Thank you very much. That's actually something that concerns all of us. Our children are already in bondage, even the unborn ones. Now, the truth is that most of these monies have already been mismanaged. What we must now do is create like a sinking fund and projectize every resource that we have to be able to meet these obligations. Thank you very much.
Cut down spending. Forget about excess spending. You cut your coat according to your cloth, not according to your size. And so it's a time to stop lavish and extensive life. I have worked in my project, in my work in this country. I have worked with global funds, I have worked with World Bank, and I have worked with all multinational organizations and donor organizations. If your state is transparent, donor agencies will fund many programs that will be donations.
There are only 2 ways to come out of debt. Number 1 is for you to increase your earning. We need to increase the sources of earning that we have. We need to produce more. Number 2 is to cut spending. You cannot come out of debt when you continue borrowing. So currently I believe that what our President Buhari has been doing is actually mortgaging the future of our future generation, of our children. Thank you.
Well, I think we definitely need to look at generating wealth. The more we create, the more wealth we create, we'll be able to manage the borrowing. There is nothing wrong with borrowing. The problem is where you are unable to manage what you have borrowed, when you're unable to pay back what you have borrowed. We would definitely create wealth within Abia State so that we're able to meet our debt profile very responsibly. And once we do this, as the Bishop has clearly stated, we'll be able to attract funding from donor parties and stakeholders. And that would allow us channel the funds that we have to managing our borrowing situation better. Thank you.
All right, thank you very much. A very serious round of applause for all the aspirants. At this juncture, we have come to an end of this media party. I will ask us all to rise as we honor our state, Abia, in our local state anthem. Thank you very much.